Hi, I'm Ashley, and you are listening and watching Confidence in Coffee. I'm your new bestie. And the first thing I want you to know is that I see you and I hear you. I see the struggles, I know them, and there's hope. What if I was to tell you that you can find confidence despite any of your circumstances, good or bad? I'm going to help you navigate the waters of womanhood, whatever season that is in. Whether it's marriage, singleness, or you're drowning in children, I got you, girl. I'm your new bestie. Listen, I'm going to help you find confidence and hope through Christ, help you navigate. And I'm going to leave you with plenty of encouragement and practical tips to overcome those limiting beliefs so you can live a life well. Plus, we're going to find a few laughs along the way. So grab your favorite cup of coffee and join me as we chat confidence and coffee. Hey girl, do you love social media like I do? If so, I would love to see the value that you gain from confidence and coffee or your favorite episode. And don't forget to tag me so I can share it too. Did you enjoy that? I'd love to see you over at ashleyhemrat.com, where you can subscribe to this podcast and channel on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And while you're at it, I'd love to see the value that you found in confidence and coffee. So drop the ratings, the reviews, and the comments. Plus, subscribe to this channel and tell a friend too. I'd love to see you over on TikTok or Instagram, where I keep it real in the reels, okay? Make sure you tune in next time on Confidence and Coffee. Ooh, we're going to talk about some fun stuff today. I say that every day, I know. But first off, this is not an ad. I just discovered Coke Zero. I'm like, this is too good to be true. Zero sugar, and it tastes like I hate Diet Coke. I hate diet soda, but like zero sugar, zero carbs, zero fat, zero calories. What in the freaking world is in this thing? But it is heaven. And I'm for it, okay? Because it is so good. I love Coke. I love the fizz. I love LaCroix, okay? And so we're drinking it today, okay? I was like, I'm just gonna put it over here, but I'm just being like, I'm just sharing with a girlfriend, like Coke Zero, and get your freebie and connect with me and drink some Coke Zero and like dog pretzels, whatever. You guys, we are gonna talk about how to stop being a people pleaser today, okay? Listen, let's be real. There's a lot of us out there. I was one of them. And I recently discovered my healing of people pleasing is that it actually comes from childhood trauma. Even if it's not abuse, someone in your life, in your childhood was like, you need to make them comfortable as an adult. You need to say, yes, ma'am, yes, sir. And literally made you feel, even if you were like the perfect child. I have a friend who was perfect. And she said that she became a people pleaser because her mom used to always say, I have no problems out of her. And it put pressure on her to be perfect all the time and to please others. And so we live in a generation that is healing from people pleasing and the behavior that it leaves us and the discouragement and the burnout and the regret. Girl, I've been there. Now, perhaps you've heard that people love you because they know you'll do whatever it takes to make others happy. Girl, it feels great to hear. Let's be real. Okay. It feels great to hear, but there's a flip side. Lately, you've taken on every request asked of you. You have become a yes man. Okay. You may feel guilty, regret, offense to it, or if you even try to say no, the guilt seems worse. Right? Whatever the case may be, the danger of being a people pleaser is that it can leave you feeling emotionally drained, stressed, and burned out, and really pissed off at the person that you're working for, which is not their fault. It's kind of yours because you have said yes. You have not created a boundary and you are feeding off pleasing them. And so we're going to talk about that. Okay. Now, here's some other traits where you're like, Ashley, I am not a people pleaser. I'm going to send this to my people pleaser friend. Okay. Listen, here's some traits I want to kind of like talk about that are associated with people pleasing behavior. Okay. We're being honest here. Be agreeable and be conflict averse, having difficulty saying no, being stressed or overwhelmed, being passive aggressive. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I know, I know. Be prone to resentment. I know. Be hasty, be in taking blame, having trouble being true to their beliefs. What is passive aggressiveness? Let's just touch on that one because these are some big words. Passive aggressiveness is basically this. Yeah, I'm working a lot for you, and yeah, it's great. I mean, I said yes, and I don't mind it, but I'm doing like a lot. I'm doing like a lot of work for you, and it's taking up a lot of my time. That's passive aggressive. And it's confusing and it's unhealthy and it's not really direct in the boundary that you want to set for your life. Now, here's some tips to stop people pleasing. We're going to get right into it. It's not exactly easy to stop people pleasing behavior. Studies show that it's hard to disagree with others because it elevates your cognitive dis dishonest, dissocious, dissocianist, dissonance. Okay. Sorry, and I burped. A distortion between your values and the actions you want to take. Now, here's a few tips that may help. Realize that you have a choice. Though it may feel like an automatic behavior, you actually have a choice. Awareness is often the first step towards change. Identify your priorities. Once you figure out what your priorities are and what types of people you want to be around, it becomes easier to say no to anything that doesn't align with your life goals. Set your boundaries. Now, we talked about this a few episodes ago about what boundaries are, good boundaries, bad boundaries, and when to apply them. It may be helpful to think of boundaries as an outward expression of self love, even love for them, because you're not going to be pissed off or offended or mad at them. Once you know that you're willing to communicate those needs with loving kindness, don't be surprised if your relationships start to change and some connections fall away. Thank God it happens now than later, where there's going to be more hurt and destruction. Knowing this ahead of time can actually make it easier to hold the line. It will be scary at first. And I've talked about this. It's going to hurt to voice your true feelings. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to offend people because you're so used to catering to others and their needs and their feelings. And you take on their feelings as your responsibility. However, those that love and support you will applaud your efforts and respect as you live an authentic life. Those who become defensive or angry more than likely are benefiting from your people pleasing lifestyle and feel threatened by your newfound freedom, says licensed therapist Keisha Pruden. It may be time to evaluate and make changes to your support system. So if you find these behaviors within other people, it's time to make a change. It's time to set a boundary. It's time to say no. And the guilt, when you starve it, will die. Just like a weed, if you don't water it, it's going to eventually die. Starve the weed, and the guilt will go away and it'll become easier to say no. Set a time limit. That's a basic, right? Be disciplined. When you answer that call, let the I'll name an example. Let the other person know you're on your way out the door. Yeah. When you set up a date, let someone know that you have to be home by a certain time. Just let them know in the beginning. And if they still don't respect that, you respect that. You've already made them aware. So really it's on them. It's their responsibility now. You've set your boundary and you've stuck to it. Time blocking is not only helpful for productivity, and that's why I said get disciplined, productivity. It also allows you a hard stop when assisting someone. So think of it like avoiding the give an inch, take a mile drainage. Right? With our kids, how many of us have kids and it's like, I give them an inch and they take a mile? Well, stop it. Stop giving them an inch. Okay. I know easier said than done, but practice makes perfect, and progress is what we're going for and not perfection. Progress, my friend. One example that I want to say about this is that when I get on a call with a client that I'm coaching, she knows her time limit. But if I need to remind them, like, hey, love, I have another meeting coming up. So let's go ahead and follow this up in our online journal or in our next phone call. And I cut them off in a respectful but loving way that keeps my time limit, my time blocked, and my boundaries in place where I'm not burned out and I'm not offended. And everybody's happy. And it's not going to be easy to do at first because you've been people pleasing your whole life. So you're going to feel uncomfortable at first, but you cannot grow uncomfortable. You have to step out in the uncomfortable and do things that you're not used to doing if you want to be who God's called you to be. If you want to be this confident person, you've got to step out. If you want to reach your calling, you got to get uncomfortable. Consider whether you're being manipulated. Did you know manipulation is a form of witchcraft? It is a form of control and it is a form of abuse. Take notice of anyone in your life who uses excessive flattery to convince you to complete a task. This is actually found so much in the church. It is sad. I have been a victim of this. We have talked about this where they manipulate these weak people who have been saved, who have really had a great life, and they found it in these people because they have directed them to them instead of God, and they manipulate them to use their gifts to benefit growing politics and people in the church. It's not right. It sucks. It's unfair, but God sees it. And it is now we can only control ourselves. We cannot control other people. And so we have to go back to, if they're manipulating you, you got to cut them off. Don't allow yourself to get manipulated. It could be disguised as a compliment, like you're doing so great. Like literally, it almost cost me my marriage because men are more ego driven. So men love to perform. It's just how they are, and it's just they're trained that way. That they're workers and they're hard workers, and they take pride in that. And so I had somebody in the church who, when my husband and I worked in the church, she would compliment him on everything. And she did it to get him to work. So much so that she thought that church should come before the family. I'm not even kidding you. That was her belief, that I should sacrifice so he can work harder in the church. And it had nothing to do with God. It had everything to do with them and their politics. And it almost cost me my marriage. I literally said to her during this very hard time that you can have him, because she was manipulating him so much so that I literally couldn't fulfill his needs because he was getting this false fulfillment from someone else to being manipulated to use his gifts. So watch out for that. Manipulators might tell you this: I would love to take you on that project because you're just so much better at the topic area than me. Oh, you'll do a way better job. Like, that is so you, because they don't want to do it. Watch out for those things. And what really helps you with those things is creating the boundary, creating what is your time limit, what plans do you have, what commitments do you have, what commitments did you make to yourself, what responsibilities do you have. When you really evaluate those things and you are aware of those things, when somebody tries to use that, make them aware of it so you can protect yourself from that. It's not going to protect them from not manipulating you. So let's not get into this mindset that we can change someone else. We can change no one. And so they're probably going to continue to try to manipulate. But if you set that boundary within yourself, you're protecting yourself from that. Now, I want you to say these things or write them down or accept them and receive them. You are allowed to say no. You're allowed to say no. No is a complete sentence. A no to them is a yes to me. Not my circus, not my monkeys. How many of us have heard that TikTok? I literally will go around the house when I want to like fix somebody, or somebody aggravates me because of a decision that they made in their own life. I know this is a whole nother issue, but I'll just be like, not my monkey, not my circus, not my monkey, not my circus, because that's not my issues. It's not my problem. I'm not going to make it my problem. It's not for me to fix. It's for the Holy Spirit. And so I actually say that to myself around the house. I don't have to explain myself to anyone. That's another mantra that I go by. I don't have to explain myself to anyone. I tell my clients literally every day, I'm sorry, you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. Why are you over? I stop them from explaining themselves to me. My clients are not allowed to say I'm sorry for taking care of their family. And so we work on these subconscious people-pleasing phrases to really put ourselves in a position of confidence. I am the guardian of my time and energy. So if you are giving your time and energy to other people and then you want to blame them, you're never actually going to fix the problem, because it really all comes down to you. You are allowing them to control you. And I'm not talking about being a victim of a relationship abuse or narcissism. That's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother issue. I'm talking about time management. I'm talking about saying yes to people in your workplace that are overusing you, or in the church, or on whatever it may be. Say no with conviction. Ask God for that. As a people pleaser, it may be tempting to say, maybe, I don't know, let me check. No, you already do know. You already know you don't want to do it. And not in a selfish way. There is times where it's like, you got to do some stuff. You can't stick in your house and do nothing. Come on, let's use common sense in that area. But when you've already volunteered in one area, or you have like 7 kids and they want you to volunteer in the children's department, and you're like, I don't really want to do this, then say no, babies. Like, say no. It's okay. You don't owe them an explanation. You just be like, no, I don't. But you'll find somebody. Okay. Um, and because the reality is those things are invitations. I don't know, maybe I'll check my schedule. That's still an invitation, even though you know you're not interested. Instead, cuts yourself loose, okay, with an effective yet polite way to decline. If the idea of saying no outright seems a bit harsh, I want you to give these a try. I won't be able to make it. Unfortunately, I'm at my capacity. I'll have to pass on that project. I'm honored, so honored. This is my favorite. This is what I use, okay? But someone else can dedicate that time that is deserved. I have plans that day, but thank you so much for thinking of me. Ask for time. Learn to say no by starting to delay. Maybe you need to talk to your husband, like really truly talk to your partner about a circumstance or what you should say. You don't have to give an answer immediately. Like, you really don't. If someone is not dying, you can sit on it. You do not have to reply to a text immediately. Actually, it's better for you to step back and process, and speak to your partner about it. Pray about it. Pray about it first. Pray. Let prayer be the first resort and the first solution, not the last resort. And so pray about this and then come with a reply. Okay. You could even say this if you wanted to reply to them without an answer. Let me get back to you on that. I don't have my calendar with me, so let me check when I get home. I need to check with my partner. I'm not sure if we have plans that weekend. It's okay to do those things, friend. It's good for you and it's good for them. Now, sit with discomfort. Okay. Everybody knows me, knows I love for you to get uncomfortable, because uncomfortable is where you're going to grow, my friend. The more details you give, the more people can talk to you out of your decisions. Okay. Stop explaining yourself, especially if they have poor boundaries. They do. So their boundaries, again, not your problem. Your boundaries are your problem. Keep your nose as general and punctual as possible. Be as clear as possible. Set a reminder to yourself. One idea to avoid rambling and making excuses or using a tone that indicates you're unsure after you decline a request is to think this. Period, no comma, end of sentence. So I love, love, love my assistant. She is phenomenal. And she's probably going to listen to this. I love you so much, Cassandra. Y'all go check her out. I love her. And sometimes what my friends like to laugh at me and say, Coach Ashley's coming out, and it happens. And so I always tell her, because I want to protect her boundaries, right? And so I always tell her when I notice other people, like, I'm very protective over her. And so when I notice other people like trying to give some collaboration opportunity or whatever in her line of work, and she sometimes will say, what do you think of that, when she wants to reply to them? Or how does that feel? And I'm like, take that out of your sentence now. Take that out, because you're looking for their validation and their direction, and they are going to take advantage of you. Be sure about what you want. Set your boundary. Be clear about your expectations, and that's it. And if they don't want it, then it was never meant to be, because you got God on your side. Okay. So just set reminders. End of sentence, period, no comma. Start small. You may find it helpful to replay with a friend, family member, or therapist. Have them asking you questions to say no to. Play with different tones, phrases, body language. Practice successive approximation. Kevin is a Japanese philosopher. That means continuous improvement. It doesn't matter if changes are big or small, as long as you're moving in the right direction. Be encouraged. You're not going to flip your script entirely overnight, but with small changes, you can give some leg room for your mental wellness, which is important. Mental health is important, and the church has failed on that aspect. So let's fix it. Don't apologize. Don't apologize. It's not your fault. You are not responsible for how somebody else feels. If you suggest a restaurant and your coworker's order comes up wrong, it may be tempting to say, I'm sorry, because you were the one who picked the restaurant, right? There's another way. Try saying, if it's truly not your fault, just say, I'm sorry that happened to you. I'm sorry. My husband is the king at this, and it actually gets on my nerves. I'm like, I'm really mad that we didn't go there. I'm sorry, babe. Like, you're supposed to read my mind. Hashtag the struggle is real, my friend. Now, fold in positive self talk. Reassure your inner child of how well you're doing with this unlearning process. Literally, my therapist had me write a letter to my younger self. It was the hardest thing I ever had to do, but the most powerful and impactful thing for my healing process. Start saying affirming things to yourself or your inner child. What would you want to tell her? Try saying this: my voice matters. I am lovable for being, not doing. I am lovable for being, not doing. Celebrate your progress. Overcoming people pleasing is hard work, my girl. Many people wouldn't be willing to do the work and get uncomfortable, but you're doing it, my dude. You are doing it. Take time to celebrate your wins, even if they are little, even if it was a no, even if it was a little bit of progress. Take time to celebrate those. Keep a confidence file. Start a list on your phone of all the ways you're learning how to stop being a people pleaser. Each time you need a boost of confidence, refer to it. And let me pause you here. I actually have a guide, 5 days to a more confident you, for free. I'm going to link it in the show notes. You can even find it on my social media. You can find it on my website under freebies, where it literally takes you through this process of truly feeling confident, where these decisions are a lot more easier to make because you then know who you are and how precious you are. We talk about worth and your identity, because that is my heart. That is literally where a lot of issues are founded. And if we can solve the root issue, we can work on all these other little things that span from that. So be your most confident self. Give yourself a boost. Remind yourself that you can't be everything to everyone, and it's not always about you. No matter what you do, someone is going to disapprove. Not everyone is going to like you. You cannot win everyone over. You cannot. At the end of the day, literally, Jesus was the most perfect person on this planet. He did no wrong. He literally came to serve and love and heal and speak of God and get people saved, and they still hated him for it. You cannot win everyone. Okay. So just understand that at the end of the day, there's one opinion of you that matters more than the others, and it's God and yours, which is intertwined who you are in Christ. Seek professional support. This has really helped me. I am all about therapy and theology. I highly suggest trauma therapy, such as there's this eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, and it actually has showed, statistics have showed that it's really helped with this. And then EMDR will help someone process trauma memories that have caused the need of people pleasing and eliminate the fear and anxiety and guilt that comes with asking for help or saying no to someone. So it takes you through this process and kind of triggers that to help you work through that, so you can have a lot more exercises that every time you feel the need to people please or be triggered, you'll have those tools to help you work through that and start really standing for yourself. And so these things of why people pleasing is such a cultural problem in our generation comes from so many things from our early ages. And I'm going to name a few, because to fix the problem, we have to know where the problem came from. So why am I this way? You may be wondering, is being a people pleaser bad? Wanting to help people or make them feel good isn't bad. It's not bad. But where is it coming from, and why are you doing it? Those questions need to be answered. Doing it constantly at the end of the day, at the expense of your own mental health, is a coping mechanism, and it's not your fault. People pleasing is usually a behavior learned in childhood, among other adaptive behaviors that unconsciously gets brought into adulthood. Authoritative household. If your caregivers had high expectations of you and punished you for making even small mistakes or a B, people pleasing is a natural response. Tiger parenting. If you were pressured to perform or pushed to a higher level of success, you may have learned that this success equals love. Childhood trauma. If you have had to behave a certain way, this is me, in order to stay safe emotionally, physically, or otherwise, people pleasing may have been an effective coping mechanism. Modeling. If you saw people pleasing behavior during childhood, you may have followed suit, even if you were conscious of the negative effects of doing so. Upbringing is a powerful ascendant to people pleasing behavior. Pruden says, as children, we're sponges. We take in all conscious and subconscious messages in our environment, positive or negative. We take in everything. Children are literally the most intelligent beings on the planet. So let's recap. Okay. People pleasing behavior may leave you feeling stressed or burned out from taking care of everyone else's needs but your own. And at the end of the day, know that you can't please everyone, but those who truly love you will be glad that you're doing something positive for your mental health, for your confidence, and for your life. Jesus himself had boundaries. He didn't stay in one place. He continued to move, and when he was unwelcomed, he dusted his feet. And he's going to tell you to do the same thing, to dust your feet, to wash your hands. He had no problem saying no. He was confident in what God called him to do, not man. Man, the religious people, always wanted Jesus to do something else or run away or stop doing something, but he answered to God alone. So who do you answer to? I love you guys. This is a lot. So breathe. Have some dot pretzels and a Coke Zero, okay? And I will see you next week. I'm going to drop that freebie of the 5 days to a more confident you below. And if you feel really led to, I am taking spots for confidence boosting coaching, Christian confidence boosting coaching. So I will drop an application below if you want to step out even further in your healing process and get some help along the way to step into those goals, define what they are, and be more confident in your calling in Christ. I love you guys. Bye. Did you enjoy that? I'd love to see you over at ashleyhenrat.com, where you can subscribe to this podcast and channel on YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen. And while you're at it, I'd love to see the value that you found in Confidence and Coffee. So drop the ratings, the reviews, and the comments. Let's subscribe to this channel and tell a friend too. I'd love to see you over on TikTok or Instagram, where I keep it real in the reels, okay? Make sure you tune in next time on Confidence and Coffee.